As someone who creates content on this channel and someone who does a lot of professional videography shoots, having my camera gear in one place is a must for me to make my shoots a lot more easier. I've spent a lot of time trying to create the perfect camera bag system, and I think I've dialed it in pretty well now. So keep watching as I share with you guys what's in my camera bag for 2024, including for both travel and for professional shoots as well. Starting with the bag itself now, and the bag that I decided to go for is the Timber Axis 20 litre. And you might be wondering why I decided to go for the smaller option when there's the 35 and 40 litre, and I think there's one even bigger than that as well. And the main reason for me is because it helps me keep organised and it helps me only take stuff that I need for my specific shoot. It makes me a lot more proactive in deciding what gear I want to take and what gear will fit the specific shot that I'm going for. I've seen a lot of creators talk about the Peter McKinnon bag and also some other options from Nomadic and Peak Design as well, and I did try them in the past, but for some reason I just keep coming back to this bag because it does everything that it needs to do without being over the top and having too many extra features which I probably wouldn't even use. Now what I love most about the bag is the amount of mounting points that are all over the bag. So that means whether I'm taking my gimbal for the shoot or whether I'm taking a tripod, it can mount pretty much anywhere in the bag. The bag itself is made with really solid materials, and I have taken it out a few times in the rain and it seems to hold up well, but I'm not really 100% sure if it is waterproof or not. Talking about the outside of the bag now, and on the left hand side you will have a pocket for your tripod, and there also is a mounting spot at the front as well with an extension pocket where you can put a tripod leg inside it too. So the options are endless with this bag. It also has a spacious system in the inside as well, which you can personalize to your camera body and your lens. So the way that I've got it set up is with the access pocket on the side I have my camera, so I can pull it out whenever I need to, and to make that process a lot more quicker. And then around it I have different sections for the stuff that we'll talk about later on in the video. But let's talk about the outside of the bag now and what two things I carry with me most. Now for my professional shoots, I'm pretty much always using a gimbal. I don't really use a tripod much, but I do carry that as well, which we'll talk about a bit later on. But the gimbal of choice for me is the DJI RS3, and I decided to go for the RS3 instead of the Pro because it fit my needs a bit better. I've had this gimbal now for about a year and I've got no complaints. I think it's really solid and it does fit my camera lens and my camera body as well, and it seems to balance it with no issues whatsoever. I will be doing a separate video on the gimbal itself, so if you want to see that, make sure you like this video and let me know in the comments down below as well. But let's talk about the other side now, which is where I have my tripod. Now the tripod that I take with me is the Sirui tripod, and the way that I use this tripod in particular is pretty much for travel. I don't find this tripod to be that sturdy to be able to take it onto more professional shoots, but I do like to carry it with me on the odd occasion where I need a more stable still shot. Now this tripod is carbon fiber, making it really light, and the way that it's marketed is as a travel tripod, so when you have it on the side of your bag it doesn't add a lot more extra weight to your back, which is really nice. The tripod itself has obviously 3 legs, but it does have 4 extension points to make it pretty long, to be honest, and for such a small form factor it's actually impressive how tall this actually gets. Now with all of my cameras and my stuff like my RS3 and my tripods, I do use the Peak Design quick release plate, and I find that a lot more easier than just having to screw stuff on and off the camera each time. So that's what I've got mounted on the tripod, and I think it comes like this from standard from factory as well, which is really handy when you're just switching between shots or switching between camera bodies. The camera of choice for me is the Sony a7 IV, and I have done an in-depth comparison with the a6400, which is my other camera body. If you want to see that, I'll leave that link in the top right for you. But talking about the a7 IV in particular, I found this camera to be perfect for my type of shooting. I do mainly videography work, but I do have the odd occasion where I like to take pictures as well, and this camera is a great hybrid system, other more photography or videography specific options. My other option for camera bodies when I was deciding to upgrade from the a6400 was the a7R5, but I do believe that that's more photography focused, and for my videography work it probably wouldn't fit the right criteria for me. I'm also going to create another in-depth video on this camera as well and give my reasons why I believe that is perfect for me, but obviously I will go through the pros and cons of this camera so you can decide whether it will be a good choice for yourself. My other camera body, as I said, is the a6400, and this was my first real camera after the a6000, which was my first camera. Now, the A6400 has been really good for me, and I think that it is, for the price, such a good camera, and I would really recommend it to a lot of people, especially if you're just starting out on whether it be YouTube or even professional stuff as well, because it does handle 4K photos and videos really well compared to some of the other competitors in the same price point. Now, I did a lot of research when it comes to lenses. I actually searched for so long before even picking up the camera. But at the end, I decided to go for the Sigma 24-70 on my A7 IV instead of the Sony or the Tamron options. But I did know for a fact that I would be getting a 24-70 or a zoom lens in that range just for versatility and for more options in terms of my shooting. I do love this lens, and I think that in terms of quality is really good, and I think it actually matches Sony, to be honest, in terms of third-party lenses. The quality has been excellent for video and photography. But the only thing is that I don't like is the weight, and it is significantly heavier than the Sony or the Tamron options. The reason why I decided to pick up the Sigma over the Tamron one is because Tamron starts at 28, and I think for my shooting I did need something just a little bit wider, so I decided to go for the Sigma 24-70. In terms of upgrading this lens now, I think I will be going to the Tamron 20-40, and I think just because of the way that I shoot on a gimbal, I do need something a little bit lighter that is a lot more versatile with zoom range as well. So we'll be going for the 20-40 to get that wide angle zoom and just for weight purposes. For the Sony a6400, I still do have the kit lens on it as well, which is the 16-55 if I'm not mistaken. But honestly, I wouldn't recommend it because it is just like a starter lens with pretty poor quality. But I do also have a Prime 50 1.8, which I think has been excellent quality for the price and is, I think, one of their most popular lenses that are sold by Sony. There's not much to talk about with this lens. It does what you need to do. It does go to 1.8, which is really good for low light situations. 50mm I think is a good range for APS-C, but just bear in mind that with APS-C you do have a 1.5 times crop, so 50 is more like a 75 on a full frame. In terms of audio for my videos, the type of shooting that I do is pretty much events videography. So with that, I haven't had to capture audio a lot, but in those times where I do need to capture something, I do have the Sennheiser MKE200. And the only reason I have this is pretty much because Sennheiser is a reputable brand, and I think the mic quality is excellent compared to other brands as well. But the main thing for me is being able to plug it straight into the camera without any extra additional batteries or stuff like that, because when you're in a shoot and you just need something quick, I think the Sennheiser or any plug-in mic is a good option for that. Now, other accessories that I have are SD cards and batteries, and honestly, even if you don't do professional work, I would seriously recommend picking up extra batteries as soon as you can. Now, with the a6400, that battery life is pretty bad, to be honest. That's probably one of the biggest negatives of it. And when you do pick up third-party batteries, like I picked up some RAV Power ones, those battery qualities are not as good as Sony. So that means that instead of paying like £60 for an extra Sony battery, you end up paying about £20 for 3. But those 3 still won't last as long as one Sony battery. Last but not least in the kit, and something that I would recommend to pretty much everyone, is a cleaning kit for your lenses. Now, one of the things that I hate the most, and honestly is a pain when you're trying to edit your video in post, is when you have a speck of dust on your lens, and especially after someone's paid you for some work, or even if you're doing some work that you're really happy with, that speck of dust on your camera lens will be the focus of attention for your viewer, and it'll be a pain to get rid of in post. So I recommend carrying a cleaning kit with you. This is one that I picked up on Amazon for about £10, I think. And it comes with one of those squeezable blower things that you shoot at the lens. And then it has some other cleaning pads and cleaning swabs. And it has some microfiber cloths and some other accessories in there for you to use to just keep your camera lens clean. So that's it in terms of my camera bag for 2024. And honestly, I think even within the next few days, maybe the next few months, I think it probably will change up a little bit. The main thing for me being the lens, the Sigma's 24-70. Which, although I do love it, is just a bit heavy for me. But if you do have any questions or any recommendations for me, please leave them in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, leave a like as well, and I'll see you in my next video.